Vashti, Guyadeen, CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Services Industries. I also am involved with a number of civil society organizations, such as SI Cuba. I would have to say my entrepreneurial outlook stemmed from my mother, who has been involved in business since I was born. So, in terms of that, whilst I do not own a business, I have been able to survive and grow in my career simply because of that entrepreneurial outlook. So, at the TTCSI, which is a small organization, I have had to utilize all of that entrepreneurial outlook in growing the TTCSI. So this is something that I have been very proud of because when I started off at the TTCSI back in 2018 was on the decline. So I was able to build up the organization in a very short time simply by focusing on what was my core, my strengths, and that was research and transitioning the TTCSI into a research driven organization. So, this is something that I have been extremely proud of. I have to say, I have been very fortunate in that, and this is something that I do not intend, I have never taken for granted. There were women who went before me and have basically worked towards leveling the playing field. So, in terms of bias, I have not had as much bias as women who have gone before me. But one of the substantial bias that I have had to deal with was being taken as a researcher, as a strong person, because research has been my field since I started my career. And again, it's a field that is male dominated, basically dominated by professors and doctors. So how have I overcome this bias? Is that I've been focused on the work that I do. It has to be of value and substantial that can stand up to scrutiny. So has been how I have been overcoming that bias simply by ensuring that I produce quality work that not only is quality but adds value to the business community. Again, I would have to go back in terms of not taking for granted what others have done before us. And I would, it's not relying so much on others, but what we can do for ourselves. One of the big challenges facing female entrepreneurs and female executives is equal pay for equal work. And we have not been able to overcome that. And me myself, when I look at myself, because I've just started reading a book called "We Do Women Do Not Ask." So I have been trying to implement that in how I handle my career because I realize that I have not asked for a job increase. I have not asked for perks, and that is something that I think all women need to integrate into their lives. You are not being bold if you ask for something, because if you do not ask, you will not get. So, this is, I think, a challenge that we need to inculcate into our lives and go simple. And then you build up that confidence to achieve what you really want to do. Yes, definitely in terms of how do we recognize International Women's Day. At a personal level, I think we need to, because I'm a strong believer that you need to be grateful for what others have done for you. Do not take that for granted. And this is something that I have been doing on a yearly basis, especially in terms of International Women's Day. So you reflect on all those internationally, regionally, locally that have done have overcome so many challenges to ensure that women in the workplace can overcome and we can achieve. And more so, on a personal level, you take some time to connect to your network. I think that is very important because I went to a school, a high school, Naparima Girls High School, that I didn't realize that the friends that I made were going to become my sisters for life. So I think it's important to connect to your sisterhood, your network, because that is a network that can help you overcome challenges. You can also learn from your sisters, from your colleagues in the workplace. So I think take some time during this week of International Women's Day to connect with your network, specifically female executives, female employees, colleagues, and this will ensure that we grow as a network and we have the ability to enhance each other's lives.